This is the European edition of Breaking Banks, the world's #1 fintech podcast and radio show. We bring you the European unicorns, startups, founders, regulators, and leaders innovating the rapidly evolving fintech scene today. A truly localized podcast with both English and local language content, with some of the world's most well-known hosts and influencers in the fintech sector globally. Join us every week as we explore what makes the European Union a phenomenal proving ground for many of the fastest growing fintech plays in the world today. Okay, let's roll.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Breaking Back Europe. Today is episode 192, and we have some amazing guests. We are on the series called ConQuest, where we go after con artists and, we interview people that do this constantly as a job. So today we have with us Trilogy Media, which is Ashton and Art. And they work actively going to meet and to see in person people that scam the poor and, the people that scam people that is vulnerable. So let's see what is the experience to not just waste the time online, but to actually going and meet and talk face to face with people that participate in the scam. First of all, thank you for giving us some of your time and sharing your experience with us.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, first of all, thank you so much for having us on this amazing show, and we honored to be here, and we cannot wait to share all these awesome most of the time awesome, sometimes dangerous experience that we've been having, and continue investigating and busting all these criminals.
Right. How do you two met? How this thing started?
I called 1-800 number when I was dating, and
so you were you were looking for chunky Americans to hang out? Yeah, we met. We both came to this town with a dream. We came obviously from very different parts of the world. We didn't come far from each other, though, as far as the timeline goes. I came in early 2010. He was just slightly
2009
before that. We both came to this town with dreams of being actors, but not just being actors. We always wanted to create our own content. I personally had been doing it since I was a child and in different capacities. And we both came to this town and we linked up in mutual circles maybe a year and a half after I moved here. And something clicked, something just worked. We shared a mentality that not a lot of other people have. We shared a drive and a gumption that was hard to find. We weren't okay with just waiting for someone to give us opportunities. We were always kind of clicking. And, we had a lot of friends in our groups, but Art and I were always the two that kind of jived the most with how we were going to approach and never take no for an answer and do whatever it took. So that's why we went into business with each other to create a company to make content. So the company came first and scam baiting came later. It was kind of a natural flow the way things happened, but that's how we linked up, and now it's been over a decade.
We had a group of friends. It used to be 4 friends and, again, different nationalities, and everybody came to this town for acting, producing, writing, directing, being filmmakers, showrunners, content creators. And it's one of those things that, the longer you stay with people, the more you understand. Sometimes it takes immediately, sometimes it takes some time to know if those friends are great influence or not, if they can lift you up or they're going to bring you down. And it's kind of like from 4 best friends, we just noticed that every single time when we said we're going to do something, me and Ashton going to show up. If we're going to say we're going to be at 10 o'clock, me and Ashton going to show up. And it just start little by little separating the other 2 friends. We're still in contact with them, but we didn't open business together. We didn't start doing things together. It's one of those things that, you stick with people with the same mentality, with the same drive, same workaholism. Workaholism sounds like alcoholism. Work ethic and
right, correct.
The rest is
there are some obviously basic ethics always help to progress and do things properly, and for sure you must have some very clear boundaries and methods when you deal with scammers, and when you decided to confront them in person, either flying in another city and going to their door, rather than renting an Airbnb and setting up like a sting house, or things like that. So which are the boundaries that you put yourself, and which are the methods that you like the most to arrive to those moments?
It's definitely a growth. I feel like, our channel started out with just scam baiting, wasting scammers' time, and kind of it was something that we were learning. It was scam baiting in general was very small when we were getting started. It's just we're treading new territory. A lot of this stuff that we do has never been done before, and so we learn as we go, just like anybody else does. And because the scammers are now being affected by the work of scam baiting, of all the people that do scam baiting, they have to adjust. They have to change their methods. And so that forces us to also change our methods. So it's a constant evolution. That's why the confrontations we do now are pretty different than the ones we did 3 years ago. And so we have to adjust. We have to adapt. Personally, I take the most enjoyment out of the sting houses because it gives us the most control over the environment, and it allows us to have the most fun. When we're going to someone else's territory, there's a lot more unknowns. There's a lot less we can plan. There's a lot less we can prepare for. When it's a sting house, which is now becoming more often than anything because scammers have diverted. They don't want to use the mail anymore as much as they used to because of all the interceptions that are going on. So now they're actually sending people to victims' houses to pick up money, which is a terrifying thought, but we're using that as our opportunity to then confront them that way with our own special form of environment that we can welcome them into.
We have seen incredible things. I'm probably going to share some frames of you dress up like this old man in a coffin pretending to be reviving vacation.
And a Russian nun was always good.
The Russian nun is mostly scary.
We actually absolutely blessed that we have such an amazing fan base community. We call them Squad. And it's, when you have a business, and it is a business, we have 2 offices, we have a dozen employees, and it's a financial struggle every single day. Every single month you have to pay rent, you have people on the payroll. And for us, ability to do 24/7, 365 a year, do this investigation domestically, international, like we so lucky, so humble, and so grateful for our community, for our scam baiting community fans who supporting us, who believing in us, encouraging us to do things like, hey guys, I can buy you a cup of coffee, I can, do subscription, whatever people help. This is the whole reason why me and Ashton can go investigate, chase, make documentaries, work with law enforcement, and continue putting those criminals, out of service.
Yeah, and I noticed you are also doing a lot of collaboration with other YouTubers that are more focused on the scam baiting part, considering, the phases of all this is get the scammer, get their identification, and go meet them. So you are like outsourcing the first part to other YouTubers. We're going to probably have as a guest one of the people that do collaboration with you. They end up being more famous in the collaboration that he does than in his own channel because he appears very often. So is there this community between YouTubers that do scam baiting? There are some secret meetings where you guys decide how to go toward the next wave of criminals.
It's a tight-knit community. It's definitely gotten a lot bigger in the last 2 years, thanks to the resurgence of several different channels that have grown, and we've been fortunate enough to experience some of that growth ourselves. But yeah, it's a tight-knit community, and I think a good collaboration involves multiple people of many different skill sets. Our bread and butter and the things we thrive on are the investigations, the in-person activities, the boots on the ground. But we can't do that alone. We need help. We need cyber experts. We need hackers. We need help in other realms, and that's where great collaborations come in. And that's why it's such an easy niche to do collaborations in, because there are so many elements of scam baiting. It's not just always getting on a plane. Most of the work is done before we even step out of the office. But we're fortunate enough to be very close with many of scam baiters, and we respect them all and the work that they do. Everyone has their own style, and we're definitely more louder and boisterous, but that's who we are, and that's what we enjoy.
It's funny that you said about secret meetings. One of our fellows, he actually throwing like yearly kind of it, not convention, but like he will put all Scambaiters under the same roof, and he created a people's call center. And once a year, it's been only 2 years in a row, and all Scambaiters will get secret location once a year, 10, 20, 30 people, all hackers, and just hack the crap out of scammers. Scammers, calling them, deleting files, shutting down call centers, and of course, saving victims. So it's very tight community. Everybody knows each other, and that's why it's very important to be a good person, do have a passion for what you're doing, respect others, and just continue working respectfully in this community.
Yeah, I'm sure that having an objective, which is go after the scammers, close them down, shut them down, it requires a lot of means, right? As you say, we need hackers, we need people that can access to the system. So there must be a lot of interesting things that you learn as well, that in these 3 years that you do this thing that you had no clue before, in terms of psychology, in terms of profiling the scammer, in terms of technology that you can use in order to go close, which is the most interesting things that you have learned that is very useful in you.
Yeah, you hit it right on the head. The psychology is definitely one of the most interesting things. You know, we have to learn every day. And we're fortunate to be surrounded by so many people that are smarter than us, that are more successful than us. And we've always believed that. We always believe in surrounding yourself with people that are going to lift you up. And thankfully we have so many people like that around us. But yeah, it'll scam tactics are always changing and evolving, and the scams themselves are always changing and evolving. But definitely something that's the most hard-hitting, at least for me personally, is the whole psychology, as you said, of victims. And, you know, the first go-to knee-jerk reaction of a lot of people that watch these videos think, well, who would fall for this? You know, this is ridiculous, this scam. But it's not so cut and dry. And these scammers are professional manipulators, and they take these people for an emotional ride. And it's not just a matter of clicking a link and you lose your money. It's like these people are actually manipulating and brainwashing you to believing that things are a certain way, and it's heartbreaking to watch. And unfortunately, we have to listen to a lot of these things and these victims going through this, and we do whatever we can to stop it. But I mean, I've learned that talking to victims and breaking through that barrier that the scammers have created is harder than talking to scammers. You know, talking to scammers is just brute force, back and forth, whatever you got to do. But the victims are so oftentimes brainwashed and locked into this way that it's baffling, really, to see how far they can be taken down a rabbit hole.
I can give you an example, actually, of what Ashton just said. Last year, we worked very closely with the Indian cybersecurity crime division, and basically a lot of refound scammers locating in India and victims here in America. So there is no breach. Victims internationally, scammers internationally, right? Criminals. So we need to bring that breach of, bring the evidence, testimony. So we know we know call center owners, scammers, we know everything about this scam. All we need to do, supposed to be the most easiest job ever, go to 5 different states, 5 different victims, knock on the door, get testimony verbally or on the paper, bring that to Indian cybersecurity crime division, and those scammers gonna get prosecuted. Knocking on a door and getting that testimony, Ash, probably was the most hardest thing.
That's what I said. It's talking to victims is harder. It's easier to go confront scammers at the front door than it is to go to a victim and try to get a statement. The psychology not only of the actual scam, but of the shame that they go through and the embarrassment after learning they've been scammed makes victims not want to talk about it. And when they don't want to talk about it, you can't raise awareness about it because they won't share it. And so the rare occasion that we get a victim that's willing to lower their guard and tell all the things that happen from beginning to end is rare. But it's so valuable because it gives us an insight into what tricked them, what worked for them. And so then we can raise awareness about that and hopefully prevent future people from falling down the same trap.
And it is very interesting because sometimes even the education that you can provide online, it should not directly go to the potential victim because those will never even met with the education. It's easy to educate the family member of a potential victim, to educate the friends, because it is something that is so complex. As you say, it's almost the perfect crime, right? There is no Interpol that will follow the full thing because it becomes small compared to other things that are much bigger. But many small things brings out a huge amount of money. Have you ever had an idea of which is the business size of all the scamming that is happening?
It's massive. It's an industry. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry, and scams are everywhere. Everywhere you go, you can find good people and bad people. There's no particular locale that is worse than another in the sense of morality. But you can find certain locales where certain scams are more prevalent than others based on the culture and what's available to certain people. And the call center industry in India is huge. It's massive, and it's really organized crime. It's like their own version of the mob. They have people that are running these call centers that have thousands of employees. These employees are oftentimes blackmailed and forced to be there, almost like slave labor. It's disgusting when you learn how much money they make and how much they abuse their own people to make that money. It's a dark place for sure.
There is a crime in the clan.
Yes,
it is a crime under crime.
100%.
There is, like how we all watch these documentaries about Pablo Escobar, Colombian, right, drug magnate, and blah blah blah. There is its own tech version of this criminal Pablo Escobar that is specifically in India, specifically in city that named Calcutta, that runs this business for decades and call centers, buildings that is 10 to 15 level story buildings, hundreds of employees, billions of dollars, putting government, mayor, or police on the payroll. So police protecting this call center that us, Americans, when we came, we did our investigation, we tried to expose this call center, and all evidence on a police table, on a high level, nobody got arrested. It's just one of those things, you do whatever you can, but when there is, police on a payroll, it's hard to bust all these gigantic criminals.
I also see you are exploring different other option in the world of crime. I saw the last episode you went into the dark web and see the things that are exposing there. I saw in the past you did different kind of predators or people that try to go with minors, and so it is really like a mission to try to do good, to remove the bad in many different parts. Obviously, it's a business. You do entertainment, so you need to see what your viewers want to view and what. But the soul push to try to you should build this one army and they send it in very different direction, which is the things that you care the most. But even if maybe it doesn't raise as many views as other, because we know that the planet of Scambaiting is incredible in terms of views, right? But there are other things that are more difficult to say the story, but are equivalently bad or even worse, if you want.
Well, thank you for doing your research. You've very good research.
I am a fan. I follow you guys since day zero. So.
Thank you so much. Much appreciated. Well, like I said in the beginning, we didn't set out to do scam baiting from the beginning, and that's why we named our company. The name of our channel, the name of our production company doesn't have scam or scam baiting anywhere in the title, because we never set out to do just that. It's something that we stumbled into and something that we really enjoy. But as we've developed, we've always wanted to make good, engaging content. It doesn't always have to be about scammers. And for me personally, a code of ethics, you could say, revolves around our target, our victims are those that prey on people that are weaker than them, and that can be scammers, that can be child predators, that can be there's so many different ways that can go. We love true crime, we love good entertainment, and you brought it up about the predators and asked about what our favorite is. The Predator stuff gets a lot of clicks too, but the Predator stuff, we could do a whole episode just on this, because it's something that unfortunately is really difficult to raise awareness of, not only because it's a sensitive topic, but also the big tech companies that support these platforms that we're on in YouTube and TikTok and stuff, they're terrified of this topic, and they seemingly do active work to protect the people that are violating these laws. And so I love doing predator sting houses. It's one of my favorite things to do. Unfortunately, we can't do it very often because YouTube silences anyone that goes after predators. It's really unfortunate, and they've created a space where talking about something isn't allowed. It almost seems as though exposing something is the same as advocating for it, and that's unfortunately what we have to go by. That's why we have our own platform. That's why we have our own things that we do on our own time. But we go after what is right. We go after people that prey on the weak, and we're not interested in going after drug cartels and gangs. And it's just like that's not what we're doing. We're here. We're not law enforcement. We're here to put a shine a light. We think sunlight is the best disinfectant, and that's what we try to do wherever we can.
Child catcher community is almost dead. It's like one channel.
Predator catcher.
Predator.
They're not catching children.
Yeah, that's right. Predator catcher. It's 9 o'clock. 10 o'clock. Coffee haven't hit it yet. Yeah, unfortunately, it's one of those things that Ashton said that they treating us, people who is actually go after these child predators, it's equally as you child predator. Like, you're not allowed to talk, you have to be silent. And YouTube family-friendly community guidance regulation killed almost every single channel. There is only one channel left that constantly going after those child predators. And if we didn't want to lose our business, if we didn't want to lose our Trilogy Media, we have to move the show, we have to move this sensitive topic to Trilogy Plus, which is our own platform. Nobody can tell us what to do. And it's just kind of shame because it's such a sensitive topic that everybody can freaking relate. The majority of people have kids, and when somebody go after your kids, after something that you're gonna die for, and you're not able to even bring awareness on TikTok, on YouTube, it's been hard for us because we love that, especially, go and protecting our kids, our community, neighborhood watch. And we have to shift it. We have to make this show private. We have to go film, do it, catch it, and put on a different platform so we will be able to continue to be alive on YouTube.
Yeah, that's a sad part of the censorship that is going on in platforms like YouTube. Thank God there is many other alternatives, for sure, in your own platform, but for other people that are like decentralized too, and there are other platforms that are censorless. And the dark web itself it can become a place not only for bad things, but also to post interesting material. I would like to know, between all these years of doing this work at making entertainment, which has been the most creative way that you have put out to catch the scammer or to scare them or to entertain the public while doing also your work? For sure, the rented coffin with Mortimer inside beat them all, I think, and the Russian nut. That was the best I ever seen. But there must be many others that are very peculiar.
Well, thank you. Yeah, like I said, the scammers are evolving, and so are we. When I think we did our first scammer confrontation in 2020, right in the heat of the pandemic, and that was a different time for scam baiting for us as a channel, as a company. That was a time when just going to confront one was huge. For us, for the viewers, it wasn't something that was being done. But now that we've done it so much, and now there's a light shined on that part of it, it forces the scammers to change, but it also forces us to get more creative. Now we don't just go to the house and confront them anymore because we've learned so much. So now we can have a little more fun with it because we kind of know what we're doing and getting into what we're familiar with. And so, we're now shifting in a way where now, especially that we have more control over the environment now from sting houses, just to make it more fun, more entertaining. And so that's where the funeral idea came from. And we have a handful more planned over the next several months that are going to blow that out of the water. And specifically, we're working on something that's going to be awesome for Halloween. We have some other stuff that's unrelated to come after that. So we take every piece of success and revenue that we can generate from our content to plug it back into the content, grow the company bigger, grow the team. We have an amazing team that we couldn't do any of this without. So it's fun. It's fun to make it more elaborate every step of the way. We don't have a national network budget yet, so we do what we can, but we always give it our all, and so far, so good.
The way you're watching, us, criminals watching us as well, scammers, like we do a lot of live streams, and we will call with our live audience, we'll call scammers, and they will recognize us. They subscribe to our channel. They know that we're going live and stuff like that. It's like that, cat and mouse game every single time. They will watch, they will see our videos like, okay, Trilogy Media doing this, this, and this. Let's redirect, let's renovate, let's do something different. And we learn about them, they learn about us. And us being content creators and, kind of like impractical jokers 2.0 with our own version, we always like, yeah, you can go knock on the door. Yeah, you can bust a scammer. How about we're going to do like this? How about you're going to be that? You're going to be none. You're going to do this. We love create these obstacles that when you look like, there is no freaking way that scammer or cash mule will go to a funeral, right? And here we go. There is a cash mule holding my hand and, oh, Jesus, I'm sorry, Mortimer is dead, but take my money, take my money, take my money. It's just amazing how greed always comes first. No matter how he dressed, what are we doing? Greed. They see money. They know there is $100,000 or whatever amount of money. They know there is a victim. And regardless of everything that we're doing, they still do rob you, no matter what, if you're alive or dead.
That's very interesting, and it's actually true. It's very easy to understand why. And in converting somebody, there is a success story where you confronted a cash mule and you convince this person, you make them understand how bad they are doing and how they can help. So to shift side, there is some particular success story that you have that you want to share.
Well, going back to the psychology thing you brought up, and this is organized crime, and every time we confront a scammer, we learn something new. We realize that they're at a different rank. And that's the thing that the scammers are so good at. They're so good at creating as many degrees of separation as they possibly can between the victim and final scammer boss. And over the years, we have really tried to dive into the humanity, not only of the victims, but also the scammers at the forefront, the ones picking up the phone, the freshers, as they call them. And over the time, we've talked to collectively thousands of scammers in the years we've been doing this. And there's a small handful of those that we really connected with and actually were able to listen to their story, listen to why they were doing what they're doing, and get to the root of why they're there. And they're not all there by choice. And so, and I think probably the most hard-hitting one was Marquissimo. It was the very first one that we ever FaceTimed, we ever talked to on a real human level, developed a relationship with, helped him escape. And got him working in a legit ethical business in his home village. And that's something we've been able to replicate a handful of times over. And we document the whole thing from start to finish. And not all of them finished, but that one did. And a handful of them have. And it's incredible.
And again, speaking of community, to start GoFundMe for those ex-criminals, ex-scammers, we would not able to go and open a business for a person who want to escape. We can buy tickets, send him back to hometown that is like 5, 10, 20 hours away from those regional call centers. But go and ask your community, hey, we need help. We need to buy a taxi so he can be a taxi driver, so he can provide transportation in his village, or get like something, taking pictures like DMV or wedding pictures, whatever. Let's buy him a camera, a printer, open him a shop. We've done several times, and our community always trusts us. That's why we don't go and do GoFundMe every single day. It's, a few times when we know the person's legit and that person need help and he need a fresh start, we're helping. And same stuff goes for cash mules. Sometimes there are two different cash mules. The person who knowingly doing this job, he just talking to the boss, going pick up the money and take the percentage. And sometimes we coming across of unknown cash mules that being victims, elderly people who just stuck in this and believing that they actually doing something right. And we have, Susan's story, like person lost $20,000-$30,000 to Kaspersky scam. It was a legit company, but they pretend to be Kaspersky. And same stuff, we ask our community to help. And as of today, we raised over $60,000 and give back to that elderly person who lost everything, every single dollar for 2 years, been standing to a scammer. So it's few stories like that, but again, those stories are very impactful. It's very close to our hearts, and you never know when you knock on the door or when cash will gonna arrive. You never know who you're gonna face, good guy or actually a victim.
What would be, because I think you guys should read the book, maybe you already did and I don't know, but in how to face a scammer, what to do when you feel and believe somebody is fallen victim of a scam, because as you were saying, there is shame, people don't really share, or people really believe is a potential girlfriend or boyfriend that they have on the other side of the planet. So there are many reasons why not immediately people realize there is a scam. So which is the best suggestion that you will share for family members that may have a doubt that somebody is falling victim of a scam?
I always recommend get as much information as possible. It's really hard when it's someone else being scammed, and I get emails from people all the time of saying like, my mom is being scammed by a romance scammer. It's like, the psychology of this goes so deep that sometimes, and we've seen it firsthand, no matter how much proof and information you can give somebody, it's not enough. As best as I can recommend is to just not judge, not make any potential victim feel judged. The shame and embarrassment is one of the biggest reasons why people will not talk. The best you can do is ask questions, encourage them to ask questions, and get as much information as possible. Unfortunately, when it comes to a victim, they have to want the information. Otherwise, you could throw the information at them. It's not going to mean anything,
But it also depends on which scam we're talking about. If it's romance scam, it's a one strategy. If you have like refund scam, like you have to call your bank, you have to notify the provider of your credit card, bank, change the passwords, make a call fraud department, make a police report. So it's a lot of steps that you need to do, and making sure the person who did a remote connect to your computer, bring your computer to a real computer shop, and making sure you uninstall everything, whatever websites, whatever apps you downloaded. You have to clean your computer and block that number. Never answer that number again. And that's why it's very important to go. As of right now, we have audience on social media platforms. Hopefully soon it's going to be national network. But it's very important to educate, awareness. It's very important to talk to parents, talk to people that you love, and explain, hey, if somebody wants you to pay taxes with Best Buy gift cards, it means it's a scam. You cannot pay government with gift cards. So there are a couple things that is obvious that it's a scam. And also we actually work very close with it's a shame plug with Guardio, and the reason why a lot of people losing money because they allowing other people remotely to get access to a computer. And Guardia will block. It's going to be like that blocker that you don't have to even, go and be involved in all these. So it's a lot of awesome stuff.
Yeah,
nowadays.
Guard.io/Trilogy, scam prevention. It's way easier than scam reversal.
Right.
So we're going to convince them to be our sponsor as well, maybe.
There you go.
Okay, last question, and then we are closing this thing. What would be the role, not the law enforcement, but of a bank, for example, to stop something like this to happen? Because people go there with strange requests for money. On the other hand, it's their money, so they should be allowed to take them. But maybe Tyler can understand that something is wrong, right? Is there something that you believe the regulator should change some rule to protect the potential victims? Or there is, as you say, if somebody is paying taxes with the Best Buy gift cards, means cannot even make the reasoning that potentially that is a scam, because a regular person would immediately, see the red flag there, right? So where is the point where these kind of people should be protected from doing something silly?
It's tricky, it really just comes down to awareness for victims. And, I love when I see in grocery stores, and they should do this more, but, putting up warning signs in the gift card sections that if anyone that you don't know is asking you to buy these, that's a red flag. Sometimes cashiers will even be in tune to that, which is great. Yes, tellers being aware of random wire transfers and opening new accounts. All those mitigating factors are great, but at the end of the day, the victim needs to be aware of what the red flags are. Otherwise, the scammers are going to convince them to go around these loopholes and find a way to send that money. So awareness is key as much as we can, and that's where we come in. We're not law enforcement. We can't put scammers in handcuffs, but we can expose and shine a flashlight on every step of the way that these scammers use and force them to change tactics. And then it's like a constant cat and mouse loop. But awareness is most important. As much as you can be aware of the red flags, as much as you can convince, especially our elders, to ask questions, no matter what, especially when you're getting unsolicited requests to do things from people you don't know.
Or somebody forcing you, put urgency, like, hey, you're going to get arrested immediately. They want you that you will make that rational decision on the spot. Don't tell anybody. Don't tell your wife, your husband. Don't tell your kids. Go immediately to Best Buy, Walgreens, Target, buy those gift cards and pay because you're going to get arrested. That's why it's important to take a break, hang up the phone, rethink, and go talk to your family. Hey, somebody's forcing me to do this. And that's what they want, that in the 5-10 minutes, force you, don't talk to anybody, don't tell anybody, go. So it's just like, it's good to step back, think, reload, and make a decision.
A very beautiful point, actually. And well, guys, I would like to stay here and talk to you for another 3 hours. You're entertaining, even in a simple conversation like this. It's pleasant to see you and have this chat with you. Maybe in the future we can have another chat if it's something you guys like. For everybody else, thank you for listening. Who is watching us, thank you for watching. And we're gonna see you next time in Breaking Banks Europe. This is your host, Roberto Capodieci, our guest, Ashton and Art. Thank you very much.
Спасибо большое. До свидания. You speaking your own language, I'm gonna speak my own language. Ashton, speak English.
Oh, thank you very much.
Ciao.
Пока-пока. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to Breaking Banks Europe, a Provoke Media podcast in cooperation with FinTech Stage. Don't forget to tweet us out, shout out, or post to the team at Breaking Banks EU on Twitter. If there's something or someone you'd like to hear on our cast, let us know. See you next week on Breaking Banks Europe.